it's time to wake up. Kincaid and Saltunis is on the air. Broadcasting live on the Fanatic app and YouTube channel. Here are your hosts, John Kincaid and Andrew Saltunis. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Welcome in. It is a Thursday morning, and it is NFL schedule release day, Johnny. You feeling good for tomorrow? W's and L's day?
No, I'm really not, but I'm feeling good for today.
I don't hear any colds coming on. You haven't complained about any tummy aches?
I'm going to play Ron Jaworski's Downingtown this afternoon. And
okay.
I heard there's a lot of pollen on the course, so I might get that later on today.
All right, well, you let me know.
Depending.
If not, then I'll have you text in your W's and L's tomorrow.
Depending on what happens. Well, we're going to play a little game later on.
Yes, we will. John Kincaid wants to play his own version of W's and L's, and we don't even have the schedule out yet.
And it's a much more intriguing way to play it, and it has much more substance to it than the nonsense of picking W's and L's for games.
That's you, man.
In freaking May.
Hey, look, all I know is I'm always right about my W's
using
and L's.
expertise.
We all knew that the Eagles were going to lose in the first round of the playoffs last year.
Yeah, we knew that.
All right, we will unpack some more of the schedule leaks that happened throughout the course of the day yesterday. But Johnny, what also happened throughout the course of the day yesterday showed me that, and I say this respectfully, all right, I hope you understand that there are still a lot of people that don't know how NBA contracts work.
Are you surprised by that?
No, because it's freaking confusing.
It is confusing. It's really, really confusing.
And that's why I say it respectfully. So remember our man Bobby Marks, we had him on earlier this week, but we had Bobby Marks on, who is a former executive in the NBA. He is the lead NBA insider for ESPN. He breaks down trades, he breaks down contracts, all that stuff.
And he does a great job at it.
We had him on right around the trade deadline, and he said, look, it is still confusing for me to explain some of the things, like the second apron, which is something that the NBA recently added in there to try to avoid having dynasties in the NBA. The second apron is still something that I think people are trying to educate themselves, even people in the NBA. There is something going on right now about this upcoming NBA draft that's going to look differently. Teams are realizing that they don't want to trade draft picks anymore for superstars because eventually that's going to hurt their cap. So the NBA is kind of changing before our own eyes in terms of how teams are going to try to build. It's why Daryl Morey ultimately got fired, because Daryl Morey set this team up with these three contracts. Maxey, nobody's complaining about. Embiid and George, though, these max contracts that other teams just aren't doing. The NBA kind of escaped Daryl Morey's plan recently.
Correct.
And that's why he got fired.
He did not. No one can say that Daryl Morey was a visionary.
No.
And that is a problem. That's one thing. He did do some things well. He drafted well.
Yes,
and everything.
he did.
We talked about those things.
That's why we said it's complex to react to Morey. It's not just so quick to, let's celebrate that he got fired.
But nobody is going to ever be able to say that he was a visionary in his job.
No, he screwed up with these contracts, and that's why he is no longer the president of basketball operations for the Philadelphia 76ers. And so yesterday, John, I brought this up on the air. There was a story from Jake Fisher, who does a really good job covering the NBA.
He does.
He's a local guy, but he's now a national writer. And Jake Fisher wrote up of a potential Embiid trade, what a trade of Joel Embiid might look like.
Okay.
And people lost their minds because they did not like seeing who the player was that would be in return. And that was Domantas Sabonis, who is a forward, and he plays for the Sacramento Kings. And if you just read the replies, John, this guy stinks. Why would they do this? He played less games than Joel Embiid. This would be a horrible trade, blah, 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 blah.
I saw all of it, and I saw you losing your mind. As we were talking, you losing your mind over it. And I'm just saying, look, you got to understand. You got to understand what people do not understand.
Yeah.
And it's easy to understand why people don't understand it, because the NBA the NBA complicates everything.
Max contracts, mid-level exemptions, vet minimums, rookie contracts that are guaranteed.
You can't just do trade talk about NBA because the NBA makes everything really complex.
There's a reason why ESPN has a website that gets frequently checked out, NBA Trade Machine.
Because it's really hard.
Because you have to make the money work. And people were having a tough time either coming to terms with that yesterday, or they just didn't know it, so they were being a-holes online saying, you don't know basketball if you think this is a good trade. So, John, I wanted to do something today.
Okay.
Before the show, I went into our back studio and I recorded something because I never want to waste anybody's time, and I try to be as efficient as possible with people's time, especially when it comes to educating people on things they don't know about when it comes to sports. And I'm saying that again as respectfully as possible.
Okay, tell me why. All right, go on.
Because if we're going to have the trade Joel Embiid talk, it has to be real. We can't do trade Joel Embiid for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis, man. They'd want Giannis.
It can't be trade Joel Embiid for, these three young rising players that I really like, and then you don't realize just how much that does not work because of the finances behind it.
Exactly.
So
that's good.
So I put on my professor cap today, John.
Really? But
yes.
I'm the professor. But are you trying to slide in there and be a professor?
I'm trying
That's
to
good.
Walk on your territory.
You can do that.
So this is a couple of minutes explaining how a trade of Joel Embiid will actually go down if they do indeed do it. And the reason why I say if they do indeed do it, because a lot of you out there realize that may not be the best thing for your wants. The people that were very emotional about trading Joel Embiid, and look, I got there for the first time. I joined John Kincaid, brothers in arm.
It took forever. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you finally did it.
But I have an understanding of how this works. There were a lot of people that wanted to trade Joel Embiid, and then they realized how it might go down, and they lost their minds. And then a lot of people pivoted yesterday online.
Pivot!
And said, well, then they might as well keep him.
Okay.
And that's where this is going to get really interesting. So Austin, who is in for Connor today, I put it in the system. This is what I hope is a master's class by an adjunct professor on how a potential trade of Joel Embiid will go down. Welcome into NBA Cap Class. I am your professor, Andrew Salchunas, and today's goal is to explain to you what a trade of Joel Embiid will look like for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
Because yesterday on social media, I saw people up in arms about the potential packages that could go down. Let's start with eliminating something first and foremost. Joel Embiid is not landing you a superstar. You're not getting into the Giannis sweepstakes for Joel Embiid. If the Clippers do decide to trade Kawhi Leonard, the Sixers are not getting Kawhi Leonard in a trade of Joel Embiid. That's not how this is going to go down. How this is going to go down is ultimately just eliminating the contract by a year or two for the Sixers. So this is where the class ultimately gets in session. What people are not realizing is that you have to make the finances work. This trade situation in the NBA is not the same as Major League Baseball or the NFL or the NHL. It's not like the Phillies, who are already in the luxury tax in Major League Baseball, who can make a trade for Juan Soto and pick up his contract and not have to move anybody else. No, in the NBA, you have to make the money work. Joel Embiid has 3 years left on his contract. The extension kicks in this upcoming season, and he's due $57 million. So, just to educate you a little bit, if you do not know this already, Joel Embiid cannot be traded to a team for three young players in return that accumulate $15 to $20 million. That's not going to work. That's not how these trades work. Embiid and his bad contract, that we all agree is a bad contract, is going to land you another player with a bad contract. And this is when people were up in arms. The number one example that's circulating right now is Joel Embiid going to Sacramento, and in return you get Domantas Sabonis. People were freaking out online this week because they think the Sixers are talking about the player that is Domantas Sabonis. You have to get that out of your head. You're not trading for Sabonis, the player, to help you win a championship in 2027 or in 2028. You're trading for his contract that has 2 years left. So if you trade Embiid to Sacramento for Sabonis, it's to eliminate 1 year from the contract. Instead of 3 years left of Embiid, you have 2 years left of Sabonis. The other option that's being floated out there is Joel Embiid to Golden State. Golden State wants to go for one last run with Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. So Embiid goes to Golden State. In return, you get Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is broken. Jimmy Butler is not coming here to help you win a championship. The goal of getting Jimmy Butler is to eliminate the contract by 2 years because Jimmy Butler only has 1 year left on his contract. That means you enter the 2027-28 season with a max slot available that you can use in free agency or do a sign and trade elsewhere, much like the Sixers did with the Heat all those years ago, sending Jimmy Butler to Miami. So if you trade Joel Embiid to Golden State, you're getting 1 year of Butler in return. The problem for a lot of people is the Sixers will most likely have to throw in a sweetener, and let's just use this upcoming NBA draft's first-round pick for the example. Embiid and the first-round pick that you have via Houston to Golden State for 1 year of Jimmy Butler's contract. It's not 1 year of Jimmy Butler, the player. It's eliminating Embiid's contract by 2 years. Again, Joel Embiid being traded is not to land you a player that's going to win you a championship next year. You're going to have a mini tank or a step back season and just watch the young guys grow and Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe by another year. So here are your options as of this morning. Embiid to Sacramento for 2 years of Sabonis, and it's a pretty even trade. Embiid to Golden State for 1 year of Jimmy Butler, but you're going to have to throw in the sweetener of potentially a first-round pick. Or lastly, you just keep Embiid all together and you try to make it work again. And I saw a lot of you on social media saying that yesterday. So tell us, what is it that you want to do? All right, Johnny, was that educational enough?
I think that was perfectly educational and understandable. And again, you're just trying to say we got to have legitimate conversations about the Joel Embiid movement. We cannot have pie in the sky, ridiculous conversations about Embiid. And I had two, and I'm laughing. I'm going through emails from yesterday here while you're doing that as I'm listening to you. And we had two people saying, you guys are so dismissive. Why wouldn't Milwaukee consider Embiid? You got people doing this. It's just this.
By the way,
they would have the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday, and I'm stealing this from NBA Live. There are 17 teams that could fit Giannis.
Yes.
Where do you believe the Sixers would come up with one of the most attractive packages if Joel Embiid's the lead thing?
It wouldn't be Embiid.
Like, seriously.
It would be Maxey or it would be VJ Edgecombe.
Exactly. They're not getting rid of Giannis and get for Embiid. And you got people going, you guys are being very dismissive. I think that they'd absolutely consider Embiid. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
We got to have legitimate conversation.
And the reason why I wanted to put out that sort of educational class, I got a tweet from Marquise yesterday. If you think Sabonis is anchoring a championship level defense, you're smoking crack.
He's not.
It's not for Sabonis. It's for his contract.
It's for freedom.
Dude, my mentions were on fire yesterday.
Oh, no, it was crazy.
But what's amazing,
I got tired. You told me, like, go check the mentions. I checked the mentions. I read 7 or 8, and I said, okay, nobody understands how this works.
So that's like where it gets interesting.
And by the way, that's the NBA's fault.
It is. It's hard.
The NBA has a terrible system that you need a PhD.
Yeah.
I'm not ripping people for not understanding it, but the thing is, you got to understand what you don't. It's my job as a person to understand what I don't understand.
Right.
You got to understand what you don't understand.
So this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
And I can't wait. Like, I actually was really excited for this show today, John. Like, I was tired this morning, then I remembered what we were doing.
Okay.
And I popped up out of bed.
Really?
I can't wait to see how much people may shift their tune a little bit.
All right.
So the number, as you guys know, 610-632-0975. You heard the 3 options that were mentioned in that class. You know, I recorded the class because some kids were out sick. So I sent it.
That's ridiculous. Let them catch up on their own work.
So I sent it to the kids that were home sick.
Sick.
You trade Joel Embiid to Sacramento for Domantas Sabonis, and it's a pretty much straight up deal. I'm sure there'll be a couple other players thrown in there of expiring contracts, right? The goal is to eliminate 1 year of Joel Embiid's contract from 3 to 2. Or you trade Joel Embiid to Golden State for Jimmy Butler, and you drop the contract from 3 years to 1, but you're adding a first-round pick. Golden State's not just going to be like, yeah,
oh,
sure.
no, we're all into that.
We want 3 years of Embiid, and you guys can have 1 year of Jimmy Butler, that expiring contract, and that max slot goes away. No, you're going to have to throw in a first-round pick to make that happen.
Correct. There's something you got to do to make that happen.
When I was explaining that to people yesterday online, the amount of, well, then I guess they should just keep Embiid responses that I got.
Well, you know why? You know why they're getting that?
Why?
Ray Dunn.
What did Ray Dunn do?
I blame Ray Dunn. Because that's what Ray Dunn's doing. Ray Dunn's one of the last people in the cult tent.
I've heard it with my own ears.
You heard it too.
Really?
Yes. Ray Dunn's in the cult tent.
Saying that,
Ray Dunn,
that they can win?
No. But Ray won't leave the cult. Ray will not leave the cult. He refuses. He knows that the feds are coming in. He will not leave the cult. They're on the bullhorns. They're saying exit the building, and Ray will not leave. He is like, well, why wouldn't we just keep him? Why wouldn't we just keep him? We're going to be a terrible team. If we're going to be a terrible team, why wouldn't we just keep Embiid and be a terrible team?
Ding.
That is what Ray was fighting. Now he's fighting the good fight because Ray knows how to debate well, and I think he was doing. I was honestly saying to myself, bang the head on the steering wheel, saying, Ray, you're being part of the problem, not part of the solution. It's time to put your childhood devotion of Joel Embiid and the stupid-ass process to bed. Put it to bed.
Or it's the
forever.
Or it's
done.
The fear of another process.
Guess what?
I had one guy.
No, I can't have that. Because Ray Dunn didn't fear the process.
Right.
You didn't fear the process.
No.
So I can't hear from any one of you that you fear a process.
I don't. Look. If you
guys celebrated it like it was some bright, incredible. Oh my gosh! Isn't this brilliant strategy?
Well, it was a brilliant strategy.
Not. No, it was not.
For Oklahoma City.
It wasn't. No, it did not. It was 2 years.
We don't have to have that.
No, we don't. No, we do it. It was 2 years. It was not the same thing. It was ridiculous. They were 2 years bad.
Well, by the way,
teams are 2 years bad all the time.
Well, if you trade Joel Embiid, you're going to be 2 years bad.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's not a process. That's not the process. What the Sixers did was keep trading away and try to be as terrible for an extended period of time. Completely different. That was not what Oklahoma City did.
So I saw there's this guy, Mikey Mack, who's just so kind on social media, and I've been talking to him for years.
Okay.
And, at one point he was so lost in the argument because he doesn't know how things work. He said, you just want them to lose. You hate the Sixers. Something like that. And I'm like, do you know who you are talking to? I don't want the Sixers to lose. But what we know, all right, I know this. I think I can speak for fact, and man, John Kincaid's going to be so proud of me because he's been saying it for years. They're not going to win a championship with Joel Embiid. All right, they're not going to win a championship with Joel Embiid.
Is it 2023?
Great breaking news sounder.
Is it 2023? No, it's 2026. Okay, you finally got here, but I'm glad you're here.
So, Mike,
I'm sorry it took so long because we could have been contending for something in 2026 if you had listened back then, but it's all right.
So people are saying, well, then that means they're just going to not be so good next year.
Yes.
And guys, are they so good now?
Is there any way, is there any dream, is there any scenario where somebody's going to try to spin to me that the Sixers can win a championship with Joel Embiid?
Somebody might.
If you spin it, you are a fool. You are a blatant fool. You know the data. The guy can't play 35 games. It's been 3 years. He can't average 35 games. Stop it now.
Yeah.
Stop. We can't do this.
So here's the deal. For today's discussion, the three options that we have talked about are the three options.
Okay.
We can't do the whole, we had a guy texting in yesterday, package Embiid and George and send them here and then get this and get that.
Embiid and George. So someone's going to take Embiid and George contracts?
Minnesota's taking on both players.
That's incredible. I mean, that's sign me up.
We have your three options, and we are going to put out a poll on this. Dr. Avedon Appel, Iron Mountain Men's Health. Embiid for Sabonis, you subtract 1 year of the contract. Embiid and a first-round pick for Jimmy Butler, you subtract 2 years of the contract.
Oh, man.
Or you just keep Joel Embiid. There are a lot of you out there that did not like the packages. So you just want to keep Embiid.
It's incredible.
All the emotion that you showed on Monday and Tuesday about fire this guy, trade that guy, blow it up. I don't want to see this team compete anymore. You quickly changed your mind as soon as you saw what the return would be. By the way, I'm pro the Jimmy Butler one. End this as quick as possible. I would package a first-round pick and Embiid to subtract 2 years off of this deal.
I absolutely would.
What would you do? 610-632-0975. That's the number that you could call in, text in, Davis Honda text line. You can leave a voice memo as well. I promise it's not just going to be all Sixers today. It is scheduled release day today,
Can't
Johnny.
wait.
We have more whispers of some games. We know some of that are official, some that are whispers, but what we do know is the amount of miles the Eagles will have to travel. It's a big number, but does it matter?
No.
It's Kincaid and Sal Tunis. Your reaction on this Embiid trade talk coming up next here on The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
6:30 here on Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right. What's your rule in class? You are an actual professor. I'm just playing one on the radio today.
Yeah.
When somebody doesn't pay attention in class, what do you do?
No, some of my students work here. I tell them, I literally will just call them out.
Okay.
I'll say, something more important? Yo, Andrew, what's going on? What's it? Because they, phones. We do phones on the, like here, the phones are.
Yeah, phones
on
down.
On the thing. Phones are down.
Hell yeah.
And that's what it is.
So I guess I'll then call out Easy Work 215. Appreciate you watching and listening and commenting.
Appreciate it. But what's easy work done?
Sabonis is broken too. Sabonis is recovering from back and knee surgery.
That's the idea.
But that's
the whole point.
You're not. I will say
that was your class.
Again.
That was your class.
You are not trading for Domantas Sabonis, the player, the abilities that he has, the injury. Like, you're not trading for Domantas Sabonis to win you a championship. The purpose of making that deal with Sacramento is quite simply eliminating 1 year from the contract.
That's it. That was your class lecture, so he must have overslept class.
And that's okay.
You overslept class, though.
I'm a very lenient professor.
Yeah, you are. I'd be a little worried about that with you. Everybody getting an A. Everybody getting a high A.
You guys showed up. Participation at Trophy Award.
Exactly.
All right. So, again, your three options, and I know we'll have a poll up and running on 97.5 The Fanatic's Twitter account. Embiid to Sacramento for Domantas Sabonis. It eliminates a year of the contract. Embiid in a first to Jimmy Butler, or to the Golden State Warriors for Jimmy Butler, who has 1 year left on his deal. The reason why you're adding a first is because you're now taking 2 years off of the bad contract. We all agree it's a bad contract,
Horrible
right?
contract.
Like, nobody is saying that the Joel Embiid contract is good. I know that there are people that are delusional that think Embiid's going to land you Giannis. That's not happening. But if we all agree...
By the way, only one email this morning already from someone saying, again, that they believe the Giannis... Why wouldn't the Bucks be thinking the same thing about Giannis for Embiid?
It's not happening.
He's often injured. It's the same situation. You guys are making no sense.
By the way, the day the Milwaukee Bucks said that they are open to trading Giannis, Shams reported 10 teams that were already in the mix.
Nobody is calling for Joel Embiid.
He mentioned the New York Knicks being one of them.
Yeah, nobody's calling for Joel.
The team that's been sitting on their asses for a week now because they swept the Sixers and are about to play in the Eastern Conference Finals. That team is in on Giannis Antetokounmpo. That team has more players of value than Joel Embiid at this stage of his career and the contract that is attached to him.
If the Sixers said today we're open to trading Joel Embiid, the Sixers phone would not be ringing off the hook. Bottom line.
So let's take a call here because I'm really curious because already they don't like the packages. They want to trade Embiid, but they don't like the packages that were talked about. Let's go to Dante in West Philly. What's up, Dante?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's going on,
Good,
Dante?
All right, listen, I think we need to add another option, to the poll.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to trading Embiid, but again, like I said on Monday, we keep looking at the wrong person right now. we should be looking to trade Paul George because he can bring you in a better value package back to the Sixers.
So let me explain why we're doing the Embiid thing. In fairness, you may not have seen this yesterday. Speaking of polls, we ran a poll yesterday where we asked our audience, what is the first order of business for the new president of basketball operations to try to do? And 70% of people voted trade Embiid. 22 voted for Paul George. 8% said run it back. So the reason why we're having the Embiid discussion is clearly yesterday the majority of people wanted to trade Joel Embiid. I get what you're saying about Paul George, though.
Okay, and because Embiid is the big name and the fancy name, and he's the name that everybody's been hearing. But if
and he's the name that people are tired of hearing because it's been 10 years.
But Andrew, you're talking about bringing back Butler. You're talking about making the locker room more chaotic. Bringing back Butler. Let's not forget what he did in Minnesota. But let me get to my point. If we trade Paul George because he could bring back more value, keep Embiid for 1 year. Either you trade him at the deadline in the middle of the year, or you trade him in the offseason, and then if you get a bag of balls, you get a bag of balls. But right now, everybody knows you want to get rid of Embiid. It's just like the Phillies with the third baseman. Everybody knows they want to get rid of him. That's why they can't get rid of him. They can't get good value for him.
No, that's not the reason.
John.
Nobody wants Embiid. That's the reason you can't get rid of him, because he has no value.
Keep him for another year, John. That's why you keep him and you see what you can get.
No, because he's going to have less value next year.
John, he doesn't have no value this year.
He's going to. Somebody potentially could make a deal for him.
Stop saying somebody. It's not going to be who? The Nets? Sacramento? Nobody's trading for him.
Somebody is going to make a deal for him potentially.
By the way, Sacramento, again, there are
other teams that are in bad situations.
The reason why Sacramento would do the deal is because they don't like their current situation with Sabonis.
They're in a bad deal. The reason nobody's calling about Embiid is because he has no value. So you don't keep him another year wishing and hoping. This isn't My Little Ponies. We're not on wish fairies. We're not like wishing and hoping that next year Embiid's going to have a great year and then he'll really be marketable. No, we can't do this again.
By the way, the same thing
was that Ray Dunn?
The same thing with Sabonis goes with Butler. You're not trading for Jimmy Butler, the player. You're trading for the fact that he has 1 year left on his contract. He might not even be available to start the season because of his torn ACL.
By the way, I have a feeling if you sign Jimmy Butler, if you get Jimmy Butler here, I think Jimmy Butler wouldn't want to be here.
Probably not.
And I think Jimmy Butler, you may end up having to
trade him too.
Trade him off.
That's happened.
You might end up having to do that. Like, he wouldn't want to be here.
Or he just sits the year and recovers and then tries to come back for age 38 as a free agent.
Exactly.
All right. We'll check the poll
We're
here.
saving for the trade deadline, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll check the poll here in a moment. But some more NFL schedule stuff coming out yesterday. We know that the Eagles are playing Thanksgiving against the Dallas Cowboys. We know that in week 5, they will be traveling to London to take on the Jags. You put it out so astutely that after the travel to London, they will have a bye week.
Yeah, everybody who travels to London gets the bye week after. So you'd say bye week 6, so the weekend of the 18th of October. So before Thanksgiving, before Halloween, guys, you're going to have that pumpkin patch weekend.
Yep.
So you can plan your dad of the year fall activities. That's when you go to the pumpkin patch. That's when you say, so now you tell your wife after tonight, you tell your wife that's the weekend. Make the plans for that weekend.
You're a genius, John.
And then you look like dad of the year because you're being proactive.
Yep.
You're putting it on the calendar. She doesn't even have to know that the Eagles' schedule came out.
Yeah. Just say, hey, look,
she's thinking
I planned something.
You're being proactive. By the way, Saturday the 17th, we're going to the pumpkin patch.
Look at that. You already got it locked in.
And she thinks, God, you're husband of the year.
So those are the two official ones because of the Thanksgiving. They already announced that, and obviously the travel to London. That's why those two are official. There's two that are being reported, and you really trust.
I trust. One Ryan with NBC Sports Philadelphia says Monday night, week 3 at the Bears morning show. One of the stations that has the Bears coverage also says that they are of the belief that week 3 will be Eagles at the Bears.
So Black Friday last year in Philadelphia, this year Monday Night Football in
Eagles
Chicago.
at the Bears is what they have week 3. Now, if that is the case, and if that ends up being true, you can do the math here and connect the dots. Week 1, Temple plays Penn State. So the week 1 of the season, is September the 13th. So that is the first Sunday. September the 12th, the Phillies play Penn State. Temple's plays Penn State at Lincoln Financial Field. I do not believe the Eagles will play their season opener after Temple Penn State.
So you think week 1 on the road somewhere?
Or unless and I don't believe it'll be a Monday night because they're playing Monday night week 3. So I do believe it's going to be on the road, which would then tell you if they're playing on the road week 3, you cannot open the season with 3 consecutive road games.
So you think home game week 2?
Home game week 2, home opener week 2.
Look at you reading the tea leaves here. By the way, another game that's reported, week 8 Sunday Night Football against the Commanders.
November 1st. That has already been... That's confirmed.
That is confirmed?
Yeah, well, NFL...
And that's
NFL,
at the Commanders.
NFL Network people are saying it.
Josh Harris will be there.
So, yeah. Oh, he'll be there. And he'll be wearing Commanders gear.
He'll be there.
Which pisses me off.
Maybe I'll have a Sixers pin.
Because he doesn't wear Sixers stuff, but he wears Commanders stuff. The man incessantly bothers me.
Now that we know
for a variety of reasons.
Now that we know they're traveling to London and that is official, regardless of how the schedule breaks down, we know the amount of miles that the Eagles will travel. John, you're the as you call yourself, nerd boy.
Dork.
How much does this truly matter?
I don't think it matters at all.
Okay.
I really don't. I think the Eagles' schedule has a chance to break out really, really well.
By the way, they have the 9th most travel miles on the books this year.
They do, and everyone's going to talk about that, and you're going to be like, wow, that doesn't sound good with travel. But here's the thing you got to worry about, or you got to think about, is they're going to travel to London the beginning of October. So the London trip, and then they have the bye week after. So to me, throw out travel being an issue there. There's no problem when you have the bye week afterwards. And you can adjust your schedule. And Jacksonville will also be traveling from the States to London since they play the first weekend. Jacksonville's going to play back-to-back games in London. But the first game they play in London is the Eagles game. So there will be no rest advantage or anything like that, time adjustment advantage for Jacksonville. So the first week, the Jacksonville game, there's no advantage on the travel for their opponent. The only other 2 games that you have significant travel are San Francisco and Arizona. Arizona's going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Of a team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they are stripping it down. Jacoby Brissett will be their quarterback to start at the very least.
Why it's stupid to draft a running back with a top 5 pick when your team stinks.
And, well, they didn't like the quarterbacks, and I think they said to themselves, next year's the quarterback draft, we're going to be bad.
So Jeremiah Love will be broken
So
next
we'll
year.
go get the quarterback. And then San Francisco. My guess is as long as they block those trips out, which I'm going to predict San Francisco's later and Arizona's earlier. And as long as they block out those trips, the travel for the Eagles is nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
All right. Beautiful.
It'll be fine.
Look at
2 West Coast trips, but it's not going to be 2 Western trips, but it's
Johnny
not gonna
Travel Guide over
not
here.
a problem.
All right, coming up next, you're going to have a problem with it.
Uh-oh.
I am already seeing the responses on the poll.
Oh, boy.
And I'm telling you, John, people are going to talk themselves into it again.
Well, Ray Dunn is to blame.
I'm telling you, dude, people do not like the packages because they don't realize just how bad Embiid's contract is.
Oh, my gosh.
We'll tell you what's going on next. Oh, I knew I was going to be excited for today's show in a twisted way. It's
You're on
Kincaid
Twisted.
South Shooters 97.5 The Fanatic.
Radio and their amazing team, and please tell them that John Kincaid sent you.
Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
6:48 here on Kincaid and Sal Chunas 97.5 The Fanatic. It is so twisted how much I looked forward to today's show. Just reading our YouTube comments, there's infighting right now. There are people calling each other doofus and idiot.
Are you kidding me?
Like, let's all be
Let's
kind
not do
here.
that.
Let's all love each other here. Let's all be nice. Even though, my God, was I catching heat yesterday on social media just for explaining how this is going to go down if you do indeed want to trade Joel Embiid. It was unbelievable yesterday.
Do you think that most... Well, first off, what I really laughed at was the idea that people were accusing you of you just want to see Embiid gone, which
Yeah.
oh
my God, dude.
The fun thing, the first one of them that I read, I said people will honestly just respond without knowing any context.
Yeah.
They will just be angry and respond because you have been I thought you were the last holdout, but it's Ray Dunn.
Yeah.
And Ray Dunn he's the guy trying to keep the cult alive. He's the guy who refuses to turn the lights off at Colt headquarters. And I'm worried about Ray. I mean, he comes from a great family. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how they let him fall into this. And hopefully we can have some sort of an intervention or otherwise. Because I heard John yesterday and Sean really trying to help Ray through this. And you can hear the pain in his voice. He doesn't just want to say it. It's over.
Yeah.
It is over.
But
get some help.
Yes, stop. Get some help.
In fairness to Ray,
what's the fairness?
If he's saying they're going to lose for 2 years with Sabonis, I may as well.
That is exact. Austin, I am not sort of without saying word for word what he said. That is exactly what he was saying.
Yeah, if
we're going to be bad.
If we're going to be bad, we might as well be bad with Joel. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to be bad with or without Joel.
And that's the point I'm trying to make. So we'll check the poll here in a second. Austin Jones is in for Connor today. There's people that have come to terms they're not going to win a championship with Joel Embiid, right? Like they've come to that term, and right? Like
you have absolutely done
all right,
that.
I finally said it. Are you happy now? I said it out loud. They're not going to win with Joel Embiid.
I'm glad that I lived long enough to see it.
The beauty of Howie Roseman is when he realizes that he will get out from a contract regardless of what that contract looks like. Look at what they did with Carson Wentz. Look at what they did with Bryce Huff, right? Like, it didn't matter. He was even though it was a bad contract, he found a way to get out of it, even if it meant a bad return and it meant dead money and all that kind of stuff. The difference with the NFL and NBA, there's no such thing as dead money. That like you don't deal with that. You have to make the money work. So our poll, Austin, if you can read the question word for word and the answers, and then I'm going to read you one of the replies because people still don't get it. The poll of the day brought to us by Dr. Avedon Appel and Iron Mountain Men's Health. It's strong all 4 hours for us here in the morning. What do we got, Austin?
Alrighty, so if you really want to trade Embiid to remove yourself from the final 3 years of Embiid's contract, which trade would you do? Option A, trade Embiid for Domantas Sabonis, and you get rid of 2 years of the contract. Option B, Embiid and a first for 1 year of Jimmy Butler, or option C, keep Joel Embiid.
So just to clarify, it's for 2 years of Sabonis. So
right,
if you trade Embiid to Sacramento,
you're getting out from under the bad contract in a year earlier.
Forget the names involved. You subtract 3 years of a contract by one, and you have 2 years of a contract of a bad contract. Period. Forget the names. All right, I know that's hard for people. Forget the name Joel Embiid. Forget the name Domantas Sabonis. You're going from 3 years of a bad contract to 2 years of a bad contract. You would rather eliminate the bad contract quicker.
I would.
Option B, Embiid and a first, because you're going to have to throw in a sweetener to eliminate 2 years of a bad contract.
And that would be like the Golden State deal.
That's the one for Jimmy Butler. And option C, it's to keep Embiid. So right away, I see Dunkadelphia. Embiid and a first for 36-year-old Jimmy Butler, fresh off of an ACL tear. Laughing emoji. Dunkadelphia, you're not trading for Jimmy Butler, the player.
Correct.
You're trading for his contract that has 1 year left. So this is why I knew I was going to have fun today, John. And I can't wait to tell you this.
Yeah.
Option A, trade for Sabonis and have 2 years of Sabonis is currently getting 38% of the vote. Option B, trade Embiid in the first for Jimmy Butler so that you only have 1 year left of that contract, is getting only 30% of the vote. The second most votes are going to option C at 33%. A third of our listeners are saying to keep Joel Embiid. I knew it. I knew this would happen. I knew people would say trade Embiid, but when they say trade Embiid, they're expecting some superstar in return, and then they realize that that's not going to happen. So then they say, oh, well, I don't want to trade him.
I can't.
I knew it.
I don't even understand it. I don't understand it. I can't get over it.
Because people, our boss, Scott Masteller, always says never assume, right? People don't realize how the trades work. in the NBA because it's the most confusing one. And in fairness, it is the most confusing cap structure out of the other three major sports, out of all four major sports. And so they don't realize that you have to trade for other bad contracts. It's not trade Joel Embiid and get three young guys that total $10 million.
It's not the way it works. Man, I'm telling you, I'm floored. That will change, though. I'm convinced that our listenership that will change.
We'll see.
I'm convinced. How about this? I'm praying that changes because we have no hope. We have no hope as a fan base if that still is what's existing.
All right, so coming up next,
we're gonna keep wishing and hoping and lighting candles and crossing our fingers that this is the year Joel Embiid really is about to do it. It's brutal.
Man, I'm evil right now.
It's brutal.
Coming up next, we will repeat everything. All right. We'll once again remind you how the trade will work. And then we check the Davis Honda text line. And we see some more of these responses, John, where people are now realizing they want to keep Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. It is Kincaid and Sal Judas, 97.5 The Fanatic.